coming to Sagana and who is fooling who. You see, there are those who have always believed that Uhuru must be playing one person. Either he's playing Ruto or he's playing Raila. Because I'm sure when he's with Ruto, he tells him, there's nothing. And he said it in Sagana.
Yes.
He said, I've never discussed issues to do with supporting Raila in 2022. I'm sure that's what he tells Ruto. But when he's with Raila, he must be telling him, you know, we have to play these things so carefully because William can bring us a problem. So, but finally when he retreats to his house and is having a chat with his, perhaps, the first lady, perhaps he tells them, hey, let's see how far it goes. At the end of the day, he must be playing one of these guys at the end of the day. And that's who is fooling who. That's what's happening. But my thinking is this. Just as some of us argued Raila and Uhuru to get together, to save the country from what was an obvious, imminent destruction, there are people like me who are beginning another call now. That for us to go forward as a country, to avoid the possibility of again getting into chaos, let us have these three gentlemen sit together. If Raila, Uhuru, and Ruto were to sit together today, in much the same way as Uhuru and Raila shook hands on the 9th of March 2018, this country will go forward in a very smooth way. It may be an affront to democracy, because it may mean for some while, maybe 2-3 election cycles, there may be no opposition politics in this country. But it will be creating a peaceful environment. It will be creating an environment in which tribe is not as prominent as it has been, with all the attendant consequences of violence.
Yes.
So I think instead of bothering about who is fooling who, I am calling upon Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta, and William Ruto to be statesmen, that when the history of this country is written some years from now, it will accord them serious space as real statesmen. It will see William Ruto as a man who sacrificed what was obviously his in an arrangement where he may not necessarily be the president.
Obvious.
Or Raila sacrificing what now looks certain that he'll be the president in 2022. And that Uhuru may then in that arrangement say, okay, I had wanted to stay on a bit, but let these two gentlemen go. I mean, I'm saying some form of sacrifice and statesmanship is required of these three gentlemen. Because why I say so is, even if Uhuru and Raila succeed in getting the president and the premier, they succeed in having a referendum through, that will still leave William Ruto somewhere hanging outside and doing something like someone said, he's doing something inside the house instead of doing it from the house to the outside. You know what that kind of thing is?
Yes.
So I'm thinking the best option for us is for these three gentlemen. We'll invite a lady later. But for the time being, these three gentlemen to sit around and put country first. That's the best way forward. But you leave William Ruto, you beat him in elections in 2022. I have asked the two again. If you really want to beat Ruto, beat him smart and beat him clear. Clean victory against Ruto. And I'm telling you, contrary to what many people think, that is not as easy as people think. You may beat Ruto, but not as clean as you should. Not with as clear a margin as you need to avoid some issues arising out of the election. So the better option, let's shelve democracy for a while. Let these guys sit together and we think about our children and grandchildren.
You agree with that particular statement that is being advanced, that we actually, put democracy aside for a while? For a while.
Yeah, for a while, yeah.
Let me make
then
it
what sort
clear.
of vacuum will we be having if we don't have democracy?
Let me make it clear, Dibal. Firstly, that headline captured by Standard today.
All right, let me just try and put it back.
Yeah, on who is fooling who, is very misinformed. And I think the intent...
Why do you think it's misinformed?
The intent is to dissuade Kenyans from the bigger picture. President Uhuru Kenyatta and Right Honorable Raila Odinga, more times than number, have come out clearly to say that this is not about 2022. And he repeated it last Friday. You can imagine, or rather remember, how many times Raila has come out to say this is not about, the myopic view.
We should buy that hook, line, and the sinker?
Yeah, we should. I mean, it has come from them, and they have been very consistent with this message. But we understand that, you know, once the Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta came together, a certain section of our political divide misinterpreted that to mean blocking William Ruto from ascending to any executive position going forward. And, you know, these are the same people who have consistently nursed frustrations and resentment. So each time they see Raila Odinga working closely with Uhuru Kenyatta to unite this country, then they are on the other side of the aisle, you know, complaining. I remember what happened last Friday, that a particular section of Jubilee had to again retreat in a particular home to reanalyze what had been discussed in that particular event. And they thought that they had been excluded right from the seating arrangements to speakers in that event. And, you know, they are then going forward, backwards to feed their boss with that kind of information. And that is why you saw a high degree of anger during the weekend. But if this country would just accept that this handshake, together with the attendant BBI that is yet to come, are all about uniting this country and having it move forward, and a very strong desire to have a one united country, then I think at that point, shall we then realize the bigger picture? Yes, there is skepticism, and that skepticism isn't percolated so high up as some people would want us to believe, that this is about either betraying William Ruto or betraying Right Honorable Raila Odinga. This has got nothing to do with betraying anybody. We understand, and we are all in agreement, that we don't have a one united country. We are excluded, we are stratified, we are deeply divided.
Thank you.
Why can't we unite this country so that we move forward as a one unitary body?
Right, thank you. Let's not really hang over also this for a while. We should gravitate the discussion also to other, you know, highlights that we have in the dailies as well, looking at also the performance of Jubilee. But let's just wind up on it first of all.
Yeah, basically, people like Professor Manyora are speculating too much into the future, and actually jumping the gun. Already dividing
and
power.
telling us what we should shove democracy aside for.
Instead of saying, for example, that there's only one person who is campaigning in this country, and that's William Ruto. Every weekend he is campaigning. The others are not campaigning. They're trying to build a legacy. And when the language around people who are campaigning is always seeing as though they are being sidelined, as if they are being, they're scheming about them and so on. I mean, there are two different activities going on here. And we should just say, can those activities come together at some point so that this country's legacy is what we think about, rather than thinking all the time that somebody is undermining me, somebody wants to deny me a presidency. Only Kenyans will give you a presidency. Yeah. It's not, the two people cannot just scheme to deny you a presidency. And I think that is not, that's not the idea. And I think I should just say that this campaigning of every week in this country is keeping on dividing people. It's division, it is actually dividing us very deeply. We should stop this nonsense and bring the country together first. It's a future. It's bigger than yourself. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than everybody. And I think that, so who is fooling whom? These are two different subjects. One is history, the other is geography. You cannot be talking about who is fooling whom.
We're going to